Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Brent Cromer, host of the Fitness Sales Accelerator podcast. Guys, what happens when when you're on a call with a client and they start to perceive you as just another salesperson? What happens when they view you as salesy? What does being salesy look like? What does it sound like? And I'm going to tell you guys how not to sound like that by the end of this podcast. So we're covering it all in today's episode. So welcome back, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday morning, and I hope you guys are wrapping up a very successful week. So first off, what happens when clients view you as just another salesman? From that point on, everything you say, no matter what it is, good, bad, does not matter. Everything that you say in their mind, they're going to justify it with, yeah, that makes sense. A salesperson would say that. Or, yeah, I mean, he wants me to buy his product. Of course, he would say something like that, right? It could be with the best intentions. It could be with the best intentions, like, hey, what if we were to break it down? I know that you've got some different things going on financially at the moment. What if we were to move some things around, maybe allocate some of this scholarship towards you and help you get that payment down to this? Would that help? And if they feel like throughout the call you were not being genuine, authentic, they felt like you really just wanted to sell them, they're going to be like, yeah, of course he'd say that. He could have just offered that to me from the beginning. He's not doing this to help me. He just tried to upsell me at this price, and now he's trying to downsell me here because I told him no. So anything you do, they're going to say in their mind, yeah, that makes sense. He wants my money. So the most important thing we can do, literally the most important thing we can do, is prevent that from happening, because then you're just fighting an uphill battle. You're crawling and prying to get them in, and then you are a salesperson. So you're exactly what they suspected you to be if you really do try to get that sale. So more often than not, probably 95% of the time, you're going to lose that deal, right? So everything in their mind is justified by that simple fact. It destroys all trust. All trust is gone. They're going to start to maybe look a little bit more reserved, less interested. The answers that you get aren't going to be good ones. You might ask an emotional probing question, like we teach our clients to ask, is, how is that showing up like in other areas of your life? And they might just say, it's not. You're like, you sure? It seemed like, a little bit ago it was becoming sort of an issue. No, it's fine. And in your mind, you're like, what happened? Why is this person no longer interested? Why are they not doing the dance, playing the game? And it becomes concerning, and you're like, this person doesn't even want to be on the call, but you're too afraid to call that out. So then you guys are just like doing this like monotonous conversation back and forth just to get to the end of the call, where they're not going to buy. They know they're not going to buy. They just want off the call. You just kind of want off the call too, because it's a really awkward scenario. So the best thing we can do, and I cannot stress this enough, is to prevent that. So like I said in the beginning, we're going to cover what happens when people view you as a salesperson, which I just covered with you. What does it actually look and sound like so you can stop doing that, right? And then I'm going to give you some tactics at the end of this podcast to actually use on your next call to make it flow a little bit more natural, okay? So what does being salesy look, sound, manifest? How does it manifest on these calls? Well, I don't think people wake up wanting to be salesy. I don't think anyone like looks at a poster in their bedroom of like this sleazy salesperson like, yes, that's going to be me tomorrow. Can't wait, right? I don't think anybody's doing that. I don't think anybody's purposely studying shitty sales tactics so that they can be a shitty salesperson and not make very much money. I don't think that's the case, okay? What I do think is the case is they idolize people who have flashy word tracks, right? Who, I'm just going to say it, Grant Cardone. I despise his sales process. Absolutely despise it. I think it's terrible. And there's a lot more people out there like that are very much like him. It's very bullish, right? Where they just try to like run through the client, and you will close deals. Will they stick around? Probably not. Some will. A lot won't. Okay. And a lot of it is selling with status, right? Could Grant Cardone get on a call, bowl through somebody and get them to buy? Yes, he has status. Like, of course he can. A lot of casual people who don't have the following, right, are not able to do that. Some influencers can even do that. I see it all the time. Influencers with 100, 200, 500K plus followers are able to do that, but the vast majority cannot, okay? And it's still, you're burning through leads even when you're doing that with those followings. It's just not a winning model, okay? So I think the main reason, again, it's not that people want to be kind of like that douchey salesperson or like bowl through people and play more of the numbers game. I think it just comes down to poor alignment and poor strategy, poor education around sales, right? We're idolizing the wrong people who made their millions, made their fortunes 10, 15 years ago, right? 20, maybe 30 years ago. And they're still teaching the same tactics that really they were developing and they were using before the internet was even hardly as prevalent as what it is today, right? So I think that's the main reason. The other reason is that people just hear things like from Reels and TikToks and Instagram, their feed, and they hear these things and they write them down and they have this hodgepodge of tactics and structures like how to close your next 38 clients using this line, right? They're like, yep, that's the one. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to use it. And then they have a whole notepad full of these things and there's no structure. So they're just saying like little witty one-liners over and over and over, but they have no real structure, okay? So think about a surgeon, right? A surgeon can go into any surgery with the best intention, the best expectations, hype themselves up and get all motivational, like I'm going to crush this surgery. But if they don't have a strategy, if they don't have a step-by-step plan, the chances of that surgery going correctly are very minimal, right? That's why they rely so heavily on their training. That's why they study so much. That's why they get paid so much, because they know every little part of the process. And if things go wrong, they know exactly what to do because that opens a new process. For salespeople, they're going into these calls without a true process. I don't care how good your intentions are. It is a big part. Don't get me wrong. Good intentions is a big part, and we will cover that. But good intentions without structure is just lost potential. That's all it is. Okay. So the next aspect with that, by the way, this is kind of a piggyback off of that. When people are picking up all these little things, I see a lot on my feed. Maybe you guys do, maybe you don't. Maybe I'm the only salesperson you follow. Great. You have not been, in my opinion, polluted by what else is out there in the industry. But there's a much better chance that you are following a lot of sales advice. That's okay. Some of it's good. Most of it's not. It's selling on this like enthusiastic motivational model where it's like all rah, Tony Robbins, getting the crowd hyped up to make change and to take that step and overcome that fear and bust that barrier and to do all of these things. And well, that's really good for like, I think personal journeys. It's not the best selling tactic because these people just don't know you. You just might not have that status like Tony Robbins and these other stage performers. And that's really what it is it's a performance. So using all these rah motivational quotes and speeches and things like that, people don't want that. What they want is realistic expectations. They want an authentic conversation. They want honesty. They can feel that when they're being hyped up, it's to make a big decision, and which usually results in them parting ways with a certain sum of money and giving it to you. Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but what I'm saying is when you're using these tactics and relying solely on hyping people up and the mindset and everything like that, it's going to trigger subconscious sales resistance in clients because they can feel they've seen this before. It's been around for a long time. They know they're in the middle of a sales process and then it just clicks. It's just a switch. They're like, oh shit, I'm on a sales call. This guy's going to ask me for money. No doubt about it. Not that we should blindside them by asking them for money at the end, but they start to think and perceive everything you do as like, oh, they're just funneling me to make that big decision. Okay. When in reality, the way that we sell, the way that we teach all of our clients to sell is just to have a very laid back, chill, authentic conversation that's very flowy. There's no sounding of reading off of a script, or like you're just taking notes, like you're just like basically like onboarding somebody, or like a counselor or something like that. It's just, again, it's a very natural conversation, and I'm gonna give you guys some tips on how you can structure your conversations more like that. So what does being salesy sound like? How can we identify it so that we can prevent it? Well, simple terms, it's either phrases or tonality, in my opinion. Phrases or tonality. Phrases, again, are those silly little phrases that I think people pick up on when they're, some mentors teach it. Some people pay to get this advice, and that's unfortunate. But, we here's my favorite one. We like to reward action takers. If you take action, if you buy today, Brent, I'm going to take off $1,000. In their mind, they're like, well, you could have just taken the $1,000 off, right? And it's very pressure inducing. You're putting them into a corner. So rewarding action takers is 1980s very much. What can we do to get you working toward your dreams on this call? Right? What can we do to get you in your dream car? That's what it sounds like. That's how they perceive it. It's like the sleazy car salesman, okay? Or this, this one I hear often, actually. If your coach, pause the podcast. If your coach is teaching you to say this, please reach out, get a better script, get a better process. You're losing. I can guarantee if you're booking 10 calls a month, you're probably closing at less than 50%. This is not a shot at anybody. I know I'll get messages after this like, Brent, I closed at 50% last month. Great. Okay, but you're still leaving money on the table. If you're saying this quote, you could say yes or no, just no maybes. Ha ha. Slap your knee. And people hate that. Okay, people hate that because in reality, they can make any decision they want. They can give you a yes, no, maybe. They can hang up right there. They can give you a yes and then cancel their card the next day, and that's still a no. Okay, so telling people what they can and can't do to set the stage of the call is a losing model. Okay, so I told you guys there was two ways to sound salesy. Phrases, which I just gave you three, and tonality. What's tonality? Right, okay, cool. Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'm just curious. Why is this so important now, though? Awesome. Love that. Next question. Why do you want to lose 30 pounds? So cool. Love that. Very cool. Gotcha. Why? Very cool. Love that. Gotcha. Very cool. Love that. Gotcha. And it just repeats over and over, and they feel like they're talking to an AI robot who, it's just, guys, stop. Okay. The fastest, most effective way, I told you guys I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to come on here and shit on these other processes without giving you some actionable takeaways as I feel like I always do. So you guys can close more deals. Okay. Number one, the fastest, most effective way to close more deals to prevent sounding salesy, okay, that you can do right after this podcast is active listening. I don't know why. I just drew a blank there. Active listening. Active listening is the best, most actionable thing that you can do on any call, okay? So it's going to be leaning into the conversation, not leaning out. So sometimes you'll ask a good question, and then you'll just kind of lean back and let them talk and talk and talk and talk. And then you go, right, awesome, thanks for that. My next question, and it's just like, it's not a conversation, that's an interview, okay? So to make it more of a conversation, you need verbal cues. Oh, okay, gotcha. Hey, hold on. You mentioned this has been going on for a while. How long has it been going on? Oh, okay, got it. Okay, well, hold up. You mentioned this, right, a moment ago. What did you mean by that? Makes sense. Okay, I see what you're saying. Now, when it comes to blank, and now we're in the next part of the conversation. Or, well, hold on. Can you walk me back through? I thought you mentioned earlier that blank, right? So just being genuinely curious, giving that, got it. Okay, makes sense. Well, hold on, because it allows you to interrupt. It allows you to dig deeper, to get feedback, and then to flow the conversation. So you can say, got it. Okay, what did you mean there? okay, and in regard to blank, and then you're asking the next part of your question, and it does not sound like you're reading off a script. So, guys, I hope this was helpful. It's going to allow you to carry on your sales calls like a normal human being. Again, you're leaning in, not out. The push-pull process, there are specific ways where you will lean out, but that's a much deeper conversation. Okay, so if you guys do this, it will prevent the dreaded salesperson label to some degree at least, right? Like you can do this instantly. If you're still finding that you're losing deals, go ahead, reach out. I would love to help. It's probably a few simple tweaks here and there, maybe some general process, more of a structure. That seems to be the biggest thing is the structure. So I hope this helps. Happy Sunday and all the best, my friends.